What's going on, you guys? My name's Ty Knots and welcome to Top 5 Unknowns, 5 deep web stories from Reddit. Number 5. A few years back, I had the unfortunate experience of seeing what a deep web hitman looks like. Well, the aftermath. I'd taken a friend to a fairly nice shopping center and he wanted to pick up a gift for his wife. It was an open-air mall in a rectangular formation. We pull into the parking lot and it's flooded with cops. People are screaming and it's total hysteria. There was a guy sitting in the front seat of an Escalade that you could hardly even tell was a person at first. Bullet holes absolutely everywhere. I'm surprised no other cars got hit. Come to find out, he was a lawyer for a deep web drug cartel and apparently couldn't strike a deal for a lean prison sentence. From eyewitness accounts, his wife went into a Victoria's Secret. A Chevy Tahoe then pulled up right on the curb in front of him and unloaded for a good 60 seconds. It then burned off, driving into reverse out of the parking lot. Last I heard, no one was ever caught and the police had no leads. I don't even think the FBI could find this guy. He was in a small town called Southlake, Texas. Number 4. There's this website for anonymously confessing your secrets. Sometimes I'd spend a good hour clicking through them. Usually they're just something like I cheated on my boyfriend or an ad for cocaine that they're selling. Sometimes you'll get things a bit more shocking, like sexual assault confessions. I also kept seeing the same one over and over with the guy confessing that he loved kitty pictures and couldn't help himself, with a WhatsApp number to send pictures to. But there's one I'll never forget though. It was a long story this guy wrote about his entire life. He was a doctor who loves his job and was well respected within his town. He's married with kids and was ultimately happy. But he's also a serial child sexual assailant. He goes on to describe in great detail what he's done to each child, along with the age of the victims and more. I could barely get through it, but also couldn't not read it. I sure hope the guy got help. Number 3. I was big into Bitcoin when the Silk Road thing happened, and I got into buying certain online merchandise. The first time I was very nervous about the potential of getting caught, so I decided to have the first product sent to my office. I had it addressed just generically to the IT department, and my boss, who is a good friend, was going to keep an eye out for me. I figured this would give me enough deniability if it was ever intercepted. It came in, and instead of the package going to my boss, it went to his boss. Now, the company I worked for at the time was a very large-scale behemoth that had access to credit information on just about anyone in the US. Every employee is drug tested and we even have random tests every so often. So this was a pretty huge issue. So I was at lunch when the package was delivered and opened. I was actually coming back when I got a call from a project manager. He said, "Hey, so did you have anything sent to the office?" I said, "No, nothing, why?" He said, "Nothing strange sent here?" I just responded with nope. He then said, "Well, my boss just received a package and it contained marijuana." So I had enough deniability that while plenty of people suspected it was me, I did get off. I also learned something about my boss's boss that day. He didn't tell anyone upstream about it, and rumor has it that he just took it home and smoked it. Number 2. I don't know if this was technically the dark web, but it's dark and was on the web. My dad worked in what's called a name generation. Basically, he gets hired by recruiters on a project-by-project basis to call into companies with a secretive mid-high chain of command, typically with salaries ranging from $250K. He did this to reveal the inner workings of many companies, and this was done for stealing employees, getting general knowledge about competition, or God knows what. This entails a lot of research to get to know the industry, and it's usually something like investment banking, video game developers, or insurance HRs. One day, an unnamed client asked him to find out the chain of command for a gun hiring group that did work in Iraq and Afghanistan in the US during the recent wars. It was unusual, but right in the middle of the Great Recession, and it was great work. So he took it and got pulled into a lot of weird places. Phone calls to stations in Afghanistan to talk with army leaders, strange websites, and worse. He even landed on a terrorist website written largely in Arabic that was a call to arms and jihad. All this searching for what was essentially military secrets, coupled with a few clicks on some radicalized Islam sites, eventually led to a single message in text popping up on his screen. It said, "Oh, so this is what you do in your spare time." No one else was home, and he was sitting at his desk as the message popped up. Needless to say, he freaked out, slammed his laptop shut, and called me, as a more tech-savvy person, to ask what had happened. I was absolutely baffled. Since this instance, he hasn't taken on any military-industrial complex jobs since. Number 1. 14 years ago, I was a freshman at a major Texan university. The university network was somewhat more fast and loose in terms of being able to access other people's computers, as you might imagine. I explored other people's computers and even the deep web pretty regularly because of this. The deep web was nowhere near as easy to access back then as it is now. I'm pretty sure Tor didn't even exist yet. I never really found anything of interest on students' computers, but one time I did find something on the deep web. I viewed a video of a kid with some kind of medical or mental health condition being torn apart by wild donkeys, while Middle Eastern men pleasured themselves while watching it. I only saw it for a brief moment and then left the site. So fast forward 4 years, I flunked out of college and am enlisting in the army. I mentioned the incident to a guy in my work center. I also stated that I was hammered at the time and could have even just imagined the whole thing. But the coworker says to me, I've actually heard of this, and digs up details in some sort of obscure online snuff film that involved exactly what I had described. I must have been one of the first few people to see it, so apparently it really is out there somewhere. I haven't gone looking for it, and I haven't heard or read anything referring to it like it's notorious or anything, but in the year 2000 it was certainly something else. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos.